There is no specific requirement within the National Electrical Code, or NEC, mandating bonding around reducing washers. The code primarily addresses bonding in scenarios involving non-metallic raceways, metal raceways exceeding 25 feet in length, and raceways that lack continuity. Section 250.98 of the NEC stipulates bonding procedures when connecting enclosures to raceways, as well as when joining raceways together. The fundamental objective of this regulation is to equalize electrical potential between enclosures and raceways, thereby precluding any voltage differentials. The NEC does not explicitly address the use of reducing washers. Nonetheless, employing reducing washers when adapting a smaller connector to a larger opening constitutes sound practice. This practice bolsters connection security and minimizes the potential for wire dislodgement. Furthermore, ensuring that reducing washers are composed of the same material as the raceway is crucial. This material compatibility promotes electrical integrity and mitigates the risk of corrosion. Bonding, as it pertains to electrical systems, involves creating a low impedance path that facilitates the flow of fault current back to the source. This path is essential for the proper operation of overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, which interrupt the flow of current during a fault condition. Without adequate bonding, fault current may find unintended paths to ground, posing shock hazards and increasing the risk of fire. The NEC outlines specific requirements for bonding various components of electrical systems, including metal enclosures, raceways, equipment grounding conductors, and structural steel. These requirements are designed to ensure that all conductive parts are effectively connected to ground, providing a safe and reliable electrical system. The concept of electrical potential equalization is central to understanding the importance of bonding. Electrical potential, often measured in volts, represents the difference in electrical energy between 2 points. When two conductive objects have different electrical potentials, there is a tendency for current to flow between them. This current flow can be hazardous, especially if a person comes into contact with both objects simultaneously. By bonding conductive objects together, their electrical potentials are equalized, eliminating the potential for current flow and reducing the risk of electric shock. Reducing washers are typically used to adapt fittings or connectors to enclosures or raceways that have different sized openings. For instance, a reducing washer might be used to install a 1/2-inch conduit fitting into a 3/4-inch knockout in an electrical box. While the NEC does not mandate bonding around reducing washers, there are situations where it may be advisable to do so. For example, if the reducing washer is used in a location where it is subject to vibration or physical stress, bonding it to the enclosure or raceway can help to ensure a secure and reliable connection. Additionally, bonding may be considered when the reducing washer is used in a corrosive environment, as it can help to prevent corrosion of the connection. The specific method of bonding reducing washers can vary depending on the application. One common method is to use a bonding jumper, which is a short length of wire that connects the reducing washer to the enclosure or raceway. The bonding jumper should be sized appropriately for the expected fault current and should be securely fastened to both the reducing washer and the enclosure or raceway. Another method of bonding is to use a bonding lock nut, which is a type of lock nut that is designed to provide a low impedance connection between the fitting and the enclosure. Bonding lock nuts are often used in applications where vibration or physical stress is a concern. In addition to bonding reducing washers, it is also important to ensure that all other connections in the electrical system are properly bonded. This includes connections between raceways, enclosures, and equipment grounding conductors. Proper bonding practices are essential for creating a safe and reliable electrical system. When selecting reducing washers, it is important to choose washers that are made of the same material as the raceway or enclosure. This helps to prevent galvanic corrosion, which can occur when two dissimilar metals are in contact in the presence of an electrolyte. Galvanic corrosion can weaken the connection and increase the risk of electrical failure. In addition to material compatibility, it is also important to choose reducing washers that are appropriately sized for the application. The reducing washer should fit snugly between the fitting and the enclosure or raceway, providing a secure and reliable connection. Over-tightening the reducing washer can damage the fitting or enclosure, while under-tightening can result in a loose connection. The NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding and bonding in Article 250. This article covers a wide range of topics, including the grounding of electrical systems, the bonding of metal enclosures and raceways, and the installation of equipment grounding conductors. It is essential for electricians and electrical contractors to be familiar with the requirements of Article 250 in order to ensure that electrical systems are installed safely and in compliance with the code. The proper installation of reducing washers, while not explicitly mandated for bonding in the NEC, contributes to the overall integrity and safety of electrical systems. When installing reducing washers, it is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions and to use appropriate tools and techniques. This will help to ensure that the connection is secure and reliable. In addition to following the manufacturer's instructions, it is also important to visually inspect the connection after it has been installed. Look for any signs of damage or loose connections. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately. Maintaining a thorough understanding of the NEC and adhering to best practices for electrical installations are crucial for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. While the NEC may not explicitly require bonding around reducing washers in all cases, it is important to consider the specific application and to take appropriate measures to ensure a secure and electrically sound connection. This may include bonding the reducing washer to the enclosure or raceway, using a bonding lock nut, or taking other steps to minimize the risk of electrical failure. Furthermore, continuing education and staying abreast of changes in the NEC are essential for all electrical professionals. The electrical industry is constantly evolving, and it is important to stay up to date on the latest codes and standards. This will help to ensure that electrical systems are installed safely and in compliance with the most current requirements. In summary, while the NEC does not have a specific requirement for bonding around reducing washers, best practices often dictate their use to ensure secure and electrically sound connections, particularly when adapting smaller connectors to larger openings. Always prioritize safety and compliance with relevant codes and standards in all electrical work. Consider the environment in which the electrical system is installed. In corrosive environments, such as those found in industrial facilities or coastal areas, it is especially important to use corrosion-resistant materials and to take extra precautions to protect connections from corrosion. This may include using special coatings or sealants to prevent moisture from entering the connection. Also, consider the mechanical stresses that the electrical system will be subjected to. In applications where vibration or physical stress is a concern, it is important to use fittings and connectors that are designed to withstand these stresses. This may include using flexible conduit or other types of strain relief to protect the connections from damage. Remember that electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following the NEC and adhering to best practices for electrical installations, electricians and electrical contractors can help to ensure that electrical systems are installed safely and reliably. The goal is always to minimize the risk of electric shock and fire, and to protect people and property from harm. In addition to the technical aspects of electrical installations, it is also important to communicate effectively with customers and other stakeholders. Clearly explain the work that needs to be done, the materials that will be used, and the reasons for any recommendations that are made. This will help to build trust and ensure that everyone is on the same page. Accurate record keeping is also essential for electrical installations. Keep detailed records of all work that is performed, including the materials that are used, the tests that are conducted, and any problems that are encountered. These records can be invaluable for troubleshooting problems in the future and can also be used to demonstrate compliance with the NEC. The proper selection and installation of overcurrent protection devices is critical for protecting electrical systems from damage. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to interrupt the flow of current when it exceeds a safe level. It is important to choose overcurrent protection devices that are appropriately sized for the circuit that they are protecting. If the overcurrent protection device is too small, it will trip unnecessarily, causing nuisance outages. If the overcurrent protection device is too large, it will not protect the circuit from damage in the event of an overload or short circuit. The NEC provides detailed requirements for the selection and installation of overcurrent protection devices in Article 240. Another important aspect of electrical safety is arc flash protection. An arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can occur when there is a short circuit or other fault in an electrical system. Arc flashes can generate intense heat, pressure, and light, and can cause serious burns, blindness, and even death. The NEC requires that electrical workers who may be exposed to arc flash hazards wear appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE. PPE can include flame-resistant clothing, gloves, face shields, and other protective gear. The NEC also requires that electrical equipment be labeled with arc flash hazard warnings. These warnings provide information about the potential arc flash hazards associated with the equipment and the PPE that is required to work on the equipment safely. Regular inspection and maintenance of electrical systems is essential for preventing electrical failures and ensuring safety. Electrical systems should be inspected regularly for signs of damage, wear, and corrosion. Any problems that are found should be corrected promptly. Maintenance tasks can include tightening connections, cleaning equipment, and replacing worn or damaged components. The NEC provides guidelines for the inspection and maintenance of electrical systems in Article 110. When working on electrical systems, it is important to always follow lockout-tagout procedures. Lockout-tagout procedures are designed to prevent accidental energization of equipment while it is being worked on. These procedures involve disconnecting the equipment from its power source and placing a lock and tag on the disconnect switch. The lock and tag prevent anyone from energizing the equipment until the work is complete and the lock and tag are removed. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, has specific requirements for lockout-tagout procedures. The electrical system should be designed and installed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. The NEC is a comprehensive set of rules and regulations that govern the safe installation of electrical systems. It is important for electricians and electrical contractors to be familiar with the NEC and to follow its requirements when designing and installing electrical systems. Other applicable codes and standards may include state and local building codes, as well as industry standards such as those published by the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. The grounding electrode system provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, helping to trip over current protection devices and prevent electrical shock hazards. The grounding electrode system typically consists of a ground rod, a metal water pipe, or a concrete-encased electrode. The grounding electrode conductor connects the grounding electrode to the electrical system. The size of the grounding electrode conductor is determined by the size of the service entrance conductors. The equipment grounding conductor provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source from metal enclosures and other non-current carrying metal parts. The equipment grounding conductor is typically a wire that runs along with the circuit conductors. The size of the equipment grounding conductor is determined by the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the circuit. Bonding jumpers are used to connect metal enclosures and other metal parts together to create a continuous grounding path. Bonding jumpers are typically short lengths of wire that are connected to the metal parts with screws or other fasteners. The size of the bonding jumper is determined by the size of the circuit conductors. Surge protection devices protect electrical equipment from damage caused by voltage surges. Voltage surges can be caused by lightning strikes, power outages, or other events. Surge protection devices divert the surge current to ground, preventing it from damaging electrical equipment. There are different types of surge protection devices, including whole-house surge protectors and point-of-view surge protectors. Arc fault circuit interrupters, or SIs, are designed to protect against arc faults, which are a type of electrical fault that can cause fires. SIs detect arc faults by monitoring the current flow in a circuit. If an arc fault is detected, the SI will trip, interrupting the flow of current and preventing a fire. SIs are required in many areas of the home, including bedrooms, living rooms, and dining rooms. Ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are designed to protect against ground faults, which are a type of electrical fault that can cause electrical shock. GFCIs detect ground faults by monitoring the current flow in a circuit. If a ground fault is detected, the GFCI will trip, interrupting the flow of current and preventing electrical shock. GFCIs are required in many areas of the home, including bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor outlets. The NEC is updated every 3 years. It is important for electricians and electrical contractors to stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC. This can be done by attending training courses, reading industry publications, and consulting with other electrical professionals. Electrical safety is a serious matter. By following the NEC and adhering to best practices for electrical installations, electricians and electrical contractors can help to ensure that electrical systems are installed safely and reliably. This will help to minimize the risk of electric shock and fire, and to protect people and property from harm.